Isolation day 62, Tuesday the 19th of May. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves. So I'm into week 2 of the Mastering Diabetes Do-It-Yourself program to transition from keto to low-fat plant-based whole food. The first week was obviously predominantly spent eating a low-fat breakfast, but also trying very hard to eat no meat and keep myself out of the high fat or red light foods, which I think I was pretty successful at doing that. This week is spent on breakfast and lunch. This is the page from the book, and you can see there's the next 7 days breakfast and lunch, which I'm going to be following. So I had the food delivered this week, and here is a picture. And never before have I had so much fruit or veg ever delivered to our house. It was a bit of a novelty, bit of an event. That's the picture. I'll show you 2 further things today. The first one is the chronometer to show the fact that I'm meeting with my vitamins and mineral requirement for the day. And the last thing I'll show you is the decision tree. Now, what I've been doing is logging the decision tree the following day. And one of the points that they make on the Mastering Diabetes book and all of the sort of webinars and other things they do is the most successful people log their decision trees as they're going along. So, and I can understand why now, because if I'm logging it as I'm going along during the day, then any changes that I'm seeing to the insulin to carb ratio, I can actually process and I can follow through on the very next meal. What I've been doing is doing it now, which is the end of the following night, and it doesn't really work very well. So again, I'm still finding my insulin sensitivity is improving, which means I'm going low still quite often. So what I'm going to do, not from tomorrow because it's already the following night, not the it's the evening of the 20th that I'm recording this. What I'm going to do on the 21st is fill out my decision tree as I go through the day. Okay, and I'm also keeping a log of how many jelly babies I'm eating, and I'll show you that. This is the chronometer analysis for the 19th of May, and you can see here I met with all of the nutritional targets, 75% of the targets of calories, but 12% fats in the day, which is pretty damn good. Really very good. Really happy with that. 150 odd grams of carbs, fat of 10.7 grams, spot on for what I need to be doing. That's why I'm seeing the kind of reaction I am that I showed you yesterday. The first page of the decision tree, you can see 12 o'clock at night, low, went back up, low, went back up, low, went really high, well, higher than expected there. And it took quite a while to come down. You can see I was still low a couple of hours later, still high a couple of hours later. Finally came down to 6.3 at 1:45, and then I had some breakfast, cauliflower breakfast scramble as per the book, and carried on to page 2, 5.2, then dropped low, stayed low within. So if I had breakfast at 1:48, yeah, we're 4 and a bit hours later. So just over 4 hours. So my view is that because I'm 1:48, 2.5 hours later, 5.2, maybe I'm a little bit short on a little bit heavy on the insulin take, but I think my background insulin is the reason here. Stays low for a bit, had to take some more carbs, went up to 5.5 for lunch. Lunch insulin to carb ratio 22.1, had to take a correction dose a couple of hours later. Now what I would say is that does come down to somewhat what is on chronometer. I think chronometer's a bit heavy on the carbs, to be honest, and I'm thinking this quite often. I had my evening meal quite late, 10 o'clock at night, dinner, and it went low again. So within 3 hours it went low, 2.2. So again, if we were looking at these, my carb to insulin ratio probably is a bit heavy, but look, carb to insulin ratio for the entire day, 7.65. So this is increasing dramatically. That's almost almost 3 times what I started with. I'm not going to make any adjustments on this. As with everything diabetes related, this is a work in progress and it's early days. So I'm not beating myself up about going low. I'm not beating myself up about making errors. I think this is trial and error until I get to a stage that I'm a lot more comfortable. The only conclusion I can make at the moment, and is a positive one, is that my blood sugars are lower than expected with this amount of carb intake. Okay, have a good night, look after yourselves. Catch up with you tomorrow.